Hey everyone, this video follows up our Kurinuki demonstrations. Now we're going to move on to another Japanese technique called Hakame or Hakimi. I'm not really certain about the pronunciation, but essentially we'll be using a very stiff brush to create slip trailing or some slip design. Alright, now I have here in front of me my teacups I made last time, and I'm actually quite fond of them. I was going to do the Hakame technique on these, however, I'm liking the chunkiness of them, and I didn't want to distract from that. So instead, we're going to do the Hakame technique on our second project, the one where we took the Kurinuki and some other technique and combined them. That's what we're going to do our Hakame on, right? Now, if you've looked at the information on the site, you know a little bit about Hakame. Essentially, it's applying slip using a very stiff brush. Now, hopefully you've let your slip dry up a little bit. Mine's really nice. This is how I like it when I'm applying Hakame. I like it to be kind of caramelly, you know. You could almost take a bite. Don't get all your minerals in one go. And we can actually, you could invest and buy some really lovely Hakame brushes, and there really are a lot of them out there. But for our purposes, we're going to make them, right? We're going to make some Hakame brushes, right? I have with me it's a little hand broom, right? And this is actually something I use whenever I'm applying Hakame on a big surface. So if I've got a large pot, I'll use this. The bristles are really stiff, and that's what I like about it, right? Now, I know what you're thinking, but Patrick, I didn't buy a hand broom before quarantine, and it's not toilet paper. Or maybe it is toilet paper, depending on how desperate things have gotten. That's fine. You actually probably, I'm betting, have a broom, right? So we are actually going to make our Hakame brush out of some broom. I know, crazy, right? So all we need to do is get a small amount here. Just going to get a little bit right like that. That's a pretty good amount. I got my scissors, and I'm just going to clip it off. There we go, right? So even if you didn't have yourself a lovely hand broom, you probably have your broom, right? And you'll notice there's some really lovely stiff bits here, and that's really what we're going for. Now, if you don't want to chop up your broom, I can't imagine why you wouldn't. Anything that is stiff like this will work as a Hakame brush. I'm probably gonna move that guy around, but avoid pasta. It doesn't work. Now, in addition to this, if you have your kit, you'll have two zip ties. So this is how we make what I call a redneck Hakame brush. So basically, you take your trimmings from your broom, you take your zip tie, you wrap it around there, you pull it through. You can make big Hakame brushes, you can make small Hakame. This is kind of small. I've got a couple here that are actually fairly sizable. And you just pull that really, really tight, right? And I like to put two zip ties on mine. Personally, I feel like it holds together better. You might go crazy and not put any on them. Who knows? You do. I don't know. You know, right? But you'll zip them together, right? And you will make essentially a small brush. Trim the excess zip tie off, and you have your own little redneck Hakame brush. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. Now, if you didn't get your kit or you've lost your zip ties, just use some bread ties. Bread ties will work. You'll have to ratchet them down a little bit, but that'll be just fine, right? Now that we have our brush, right, and you can see here I have some brushes that I've made earlier from broomcorn and from some other, I believe this is bamboo, right, bamboo grass. So yeah, I've got a whole mess of them. I like to hang out with them, and then I've also got my big one for my hand tool. Right. All right. So this is what we're going to use to apply our slip to the surface of our pot. All right. So get your brushes together, and meet me back here in just a minute. Hey, welcome back. I've got my pot here. I let it get a little bit past leather hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hydrate it a little bit. Right? And then we're just going to let it set up for a minute, right? Probably going to cover it with some plastic. It happens sometimes. Don't worry too much about it. You know, we'll get it a little overhydrated or a little underhydrated. Regulating drying is a huge part of clay. All right. So don't worry too much about it if something gets a little dry on you or a little wet on you. Just give it a minute, hydrate it, or we've had some beautiful sun, so maybe you could step outside and let it dry a little bit, right? So I'm just going to set it there, let it hydrate for a minute, maybe come back and spray it. All right. All right, it's been a little bit, and my pot is back to leather hard, right? You can see it's got that nice rich red color that our clay has in it. It's about leather hard. Yep. And so now I'm going to use my Hakame brush here in conjunction with my slip. I'm just going to get some slip on there, right? And just apply it to the side. You don't really want to be in a whole lot of control on these. These are kind of loose brush strokes, right? So don't think about making them very tight, very precise. Think about making them kind of expressive. This is an expressive sort of slip application. Blah, 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 blah. It's an expressive slip application. All right. So let's see. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, it's even kind of runny. There we go. That's not too bad. All right. So it's kind of chaotic. It's got a lot of neat things going on. That bristle is very chaotic. I'm liking that. I'm going to try it with a slightly different one. Right, I'm just going to go to the other side here. There we go. Get this broom corn saturated. You know what? Gosh, I kind of think I like the other one better. Yeah, got a lot more variation, right? So yeah, push brooms are actually quite nice, or rather pull brooms. I'm gonna do that again. Got some good variation going on here. I'm gonna go down and then back around. There we go. And we just want to experiment and play around with some brush marks, right? You can see here I've got quite a few interesting little things going on, right? We make a bigger brush, we'll get a little bit more consistency in our lines. Smaller brushes, we'll get a little bit more chaos. Yeah, so go through and work around. The idea is you're not trying to cover the whole thing with slip. You actually do want a little bit of texture and the variations between light and dark. You're actually going for that. Go ahead and work on this, and if your teacups are still damp, go ahead and try it on that if you like, right? So that's our follow-up. So this week we are going to do our conjoined Kurinuki, followed by our homemade redneck Hakame. All right? All right, I look forward to seeing the results.